Hey guys, it's Lando from the Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host today, and welcome to Championship Weekend.
Let's go.
We're excited to talk to you about tight end rankings this week. It's kind of a crapshoot. It might not work out, but we're here regardless, trying to sift through these touchdown-dependent tight ends. We got Mac with me. I'm Lando, and make sure to drop it in the comments if you have players that we don't talk about today. Make sure to put it in the comments, and we will ask or answer every single comment. Maybe if you have a flex question, it doesn't matter. Running back, quarterback, we'll answer all the questions down below. So welcome to the tight end ranking show. Mac, number one, who is your number one tight end ranking of the week?
It's tough to go away from a guy that's been really a difference maker at the tight end position. I'd be curious to see where Travis Kelce ranks as a pass catcher this year. I'm sure we could find that stat, but Travis Kelce taking me to the Listener League Championship. As you know, my first overall pick in the Superflex tight end premium tiered PPR format, and I've been thrilled with him all season long, going to carry people to fantasy championships. If you paid up at the tight end position this year, you've been super happy.
Yeah, you can't go wrong there. He might lead the league in total yards. This guy is crazy. And if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes.
Smash matchup against the Falcons too.
Oh, it's going to be glorious. My second ranked tight end is pretty easy as well. That's going to be Darren Waller. They play, a tough defense against Miami, but you can't go away from Darren Waller. You're probably in the finals because of Darren Waller, that monstrous 30-plus point performance he had. And he's the number one pass catcher for the Las Vegas Raiders. It doesn't matter if it's Marcus Mariota or Derek Carr behind center. Darren Waller is a smash play at tight end, and congrats if you have him.
Yeah, and you started your semifinal week off on a Thursday on the right foot, and you got it going with Darren Waller early. Hopefully he can return the favor for you this week. Like Landon said, a little bit of a tougher matchup against that Miami D, but he's still so tough to guard. You can't shy away. Another guy that's been up and down this year, but can, I think, come through for you this week against the Giants is Mark Andrews, coming in at the number 3 tight end. Go-to guy for Lamar. He hasn't been throwing it a ton lately. Actually, last game was his best outing in the last 5, 243 passing yards. But Mark Andrews still has that touchdown upside. We've seen him come back a bit. I have some faith that he'll be able to exploit the Giants, who are fairly poor at defending the tight end. So Mark Andrews could be a nice ceiling play for you at the tight end position. I would roll him out with confidence if you have been debating.
So I got to talk to you about the number 4 spot, because Robert Tonyan has scored in each of...
It's not Jordan Reed, Landon?
It's not Jordan Reed. Robert Tonyan has scored in each of the last 5 games. But I got to ask you, Mac, would you start George Kittle here over Robert Tonyan? If George Kittle is active, he could have been the number 1 overall tight end in the year if he stayed healthy, but obviously he's been banged up. He's trying to play, and if he's active, do you go here? Robert Tonyan only had 18 yards and a touchdown this past week against Carolina.
1, he wouldn't beat Travis Kelce. 2, I don't think George Kittle plays, and I guess I should add a third. 3, I can't trust CJ Beathard or even Josh Rosen, if it comes to that, to deliver the ball. I don't think George Kittle plays, but even if he does, I would go Tonyan over Kittle this week. I think it could be a tiny bit trappy.
Yeah, but besides, it's okay. I get the the Tonyan love, but after there, it's really a crapshoot. TJ Hockenson got you negative points this past week.
Yeah, that hurt.
Dallas Goedert, are you really going to trust Evan Engram? Do you want to trust him? There's some other guys that might be safer, but George Kittle has that perceived upside if he plays.
No doubt. I wouldn't start I wouldn't start him over Hunter Henry, who comes in at number 6 for us. TJ Hockenson, you're right, was a little bit of a letdown last week, but I'm gonna let him slide on that one. I still think TJ Hockenson has that top 5 upside, but that's kind of where the George Kittle, if he does play, kind of line is drawn for me in the sand. It's really kind of that tight end 6, tight end 7 range.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I've got Noah Fant here as well at number 7. They played the LA Chargers. Noah Fant has had a really good game this past week. We want to see Drew Lock healthy, and he loves to target Noah Fant, but it really doesn't matter who's at quarterback for Denver. Noah Fant is a great athletic tight end. We thought he was going to be one of the best late round smashes of the year, but he's been kind of struggling to stay healthy.
Can you blame him though? Drew Lock banged up. Yeah. The offense hasn't really been able to move the ball. I mean, look what's happened to Jerry Jeudy over the last couple of weeks. It's really hurt a lot of fantasy managers down the fantasy playoff stretch, myself included, who have been relying on Jerry Jeudy week in and week out. But really, the bright spots of this offense lately have been Melvin Gordon, Tim Patrick, and in and out Noah Fant. So they've been pushing the ball downfield a little bit with KJ Hamler. And I think that speaks to a little bit more room for Fant to operate in the interim parts of the field.
Absolutely. Mac, who do you have next for your tight end?
It's going to be Logan Thomas coming off a 15 target, 13 reception game for 100 yards. I was a little bit skeptical. What will this passing volume look like for Logan Thomas with Dwayne Haskins back at the starting position? But it was good last week. He really targeted Thomas a ton. And if you can get that kind of volume at the tight end position, you're kind of locked and loaded for a top 6 score, which is really all that matters at the tight end position. You want to try to get that top 6 differentiator that week. And Logan Thomas this week going up against the Carolina Panthers, who really aren't great at defending a whole lot. It's a nice spot for Logan Thomas. In terms of ceiling plays, I would put him right up there with like the Robert Tonyan, the Darren Waller this week. I really think that he has a high ceiling.
Man, absolutely. Thomas has been a steal. He's kind of what like Darren Waller was last year. Like he's 29 years old. He's a veteran in the league. We all kind of really liked Logan Thomas coming into it, but it's been a carousel of quarterbacks. The Washington team has been good and bad. He'll never be the number one target like Waller is, but he's still a great 6'6" tight end. And those targets, the 15, 16 targets, to get that from a tight end is league-winning potential. If he gets in the end zone, you have a difference maker at the tight end position.
And look, guys, like you gave me a lot of flack on our earlier show in the week saying, what do you mean you're considering starting Logan Thomas if you win him off waivers? You need to. He's in the tight end 5. And I got a lot of flack. Start him over Evan Engram, Mac. Start him over Dallas Goedert. Guess what, guys? I am. I've listened to you. Usually it's the tables have turned, but I'm listening to the community this week. I'm starting in a championship matchup Logan Thomas over Evan Engram and Dallas Goedert.
That's great. Next, we've got the best tight end of all time. No, Rob Gronkowski. He's been playing lots of snaps. He played 91% of snaps against Atlanta. Now they play the Detroit Lions. It should be a pretty good matchup. They're pretty good against the tight end, but that doesn't matter in this position. Right. Gronk has let you down off and on, but he did have a 100-yard game against Kansas City. He only had 3 targets this past game. I don't think Tom Brady really knows what to do. Rob is getting a lot of air yards, and that's good and bad, but Tom Brady's deep ball just isn't there all the time. We saw him connect with Antonio Brown this past week, but Mike Evans has been the target leader. And Chris Godwin is a complete bust this year. Like this guy,
wide receiver 45, Lando.
And he was a top 5 wide receiver with Jameis Winston at the helm. So it's like Robert Gronkowski has been a great guy that you probably got at the end of drafts, and you got to start him this week in championship matchup. Hopefully he gets in the end zone against Detroit. That's really what you're looking for.
Well, that's the thing, though. He has that touchdown upside. He's been a favorite target of Tom Brady, and when push comes to shove, he's going to go to what he knows. And that's big old Gronk. Dial something up for him. We've seen it time and time again, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it in a nice weather game inside a nice guaranteed dome. So
love that.
Rob Gronkowski, man. Dallas Goedert and Evan Engram here come in at 10 and 11, and I already talked about them. Dallas Goedert is, I know what you're thinking, Mac. They play the Dallas Cowboys, who are awful on the defensive side, and Jalen Hurts has been great. I understand all these things, but Miles Sanders has had a little bit of a resurgence. Alshon Jeffrey's back on the field. Jalen Reagor's got an increased workload. Zach Ertz is back, and Dallas Goedert has been so good for you because he was used out of necessity and he was hyper involved because they didn't have many other options. But now, given all these pieces have returned and the offense has changed, it's a little bit more dynamic, I think Dallas Goedert is relied upon a little bit less, and I think his ceiling kind of has come down because of that. So while he's still in the top 12 rankings for us at the tight end position, that doesn't really mean a whole lot, and that's why I'm going with a guy like Logan Thomas over Goedert. Evan Engram, I've about had it with Evan Engram. He still has the upside because of his athleticism and really the limited amount of offensive pieces that the Giants have. But look, last week I about lost a semifinals matchup because of Evan Engram, and I'm not willing to let that go. So they're coming in at 10 and 11, and I don't think there's huge ceiling, but the floor is still 4 or 5 targets and 50 yards. I think that's what you can expect out of these two. Touchdown is a bonus.
Yeah, Dallas Goedert's a tough one. I love the talent, and I really wanted him to usurp Zach Ertz this year as the number one, locked and loaded. But we knew that Carson Wentz loved the tight end, and they played double tight end a lot. Now with Jalen Reagor, they do that read option a lot.
Jalen Hurts.
I said Reagor. He pushes it downfield to Jalen Reagor, is what I was just about to say. And he doesn't really do those dump offs to the tight end, the safety plays like Wentz did as much. So, and he runs it too. So it's tough to trust Dallas Goedert right now. For my final tight end, Mac, what were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
I'm going with Jonnu Smith. He's kind of back from the dead. They play the Green Bay Packers. The weather doesn't matter that much to me because Jonnu Smith is that big-bodied guy that could get the touchdown. Last game, it was all Tannehill and Derrick Henry and Corey Davis, but it very well could be a Jonnu Smith show in the end zone. They always do that fake handoff and then just a dump off to Jonnu Smith. So again, you're banking on a touchdown. You're hoping for a high over/under in Green Bay, and that's where I think you go with Jonnu Smith with the tight end 12 of the week.
He's like a mini Derrick Henry. He's like 6'3", 235. They, at the beginning of the season, before he went down with this injury, lined him up in the backfield as a runner potentially. But when he gets that ball in space, he's tough to tackle, and he's good for some chunk yardage plays. So, yeah, we'll kind of see if the weather kind of pushes Jonnu Smith more into the game script for the Titans, but certainly has top 12 upside for a tight end here. I'm glad to see him back on the field.
Yeah, special consideration to Jared Cook. They play Minnesota, and Austin Hooper against the Jets. I think both guys are in decent spots. Austin Hooper probably should be higher in our ranks, but just these other guys have shown flashes, and they're in a little bit better spots. Mm-hmm. We do see David Njoku involved a little bit as well in Cleveland, so Austin Hooper is not really getting the targets, and Jarvis Landry is the target leader in that offense. So, any tight ends you want to shout out before we finish this off, Mac?
No, sir. I'm good to go. I think 12 or to 14 tight ends is enough for me.
I agree. So thanks a lot for coming in, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you haven't already. We are live Saturday and Sunday of this week for the holiday season to help you with every start-sit decision. We are snap_fantasy on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure to give us a follow and get into our DMs. We are happy to respond, and good luck with your fantasy championship matchups.
Good luck. We'll see you this weekend.